Hello, nice to see you again. Today we're going to speak about initiation. What is initiation? There are so many initiations in the world. There is like in different healing systems like Reiki, universal energy, and there is the baptism. Jesus went through a baptism, and there is for example, in India, there is something called Diksha or initiation. It is like used in so many everywhere. I mean, in most traditions, they're using that word of initiated in different ways, sometimes through touch, by looking in the eyes, or some transmission. It's called different things. It's there in so many traditions all over the world, and some of them are costing a lot of money nowadays. You can get a diploma. They have very huge, fancy titles. Some people, they sell their flats, take big loans. It can cost like $1,000, $10,000. It can cost much more. And many are marketing it with some, promising so many things, so many different level of initiations. And it can be very interesting for the mind, for the dualistic part in us, the dreamy part, which is not the true I. It's very tempting with long words, long descriptions, beautiful diplomas, and all that. And as far as I have seen, is that the huge giants usually don't even speak about it. So often, the more it is described and paid attention to and glorified and made important, the less will be the power and the effect. So I know some people who have gotten thousands of initiations, and they give it to others, and they are still very confused and full of suffering and depression, suicidal thoughts, and they keep on initiating. So, for example, in the case of Ramana Maharshi, he never told anything. He just looked at people or thought of them, boom, and they went to a different state. They could easily go into very deep silence. Some of them went into temporary awakening states or enlightenment states or self-realization or samadhi states. You can call it whatever you like, but into your true nature. And some call it said like that. Ramana gave him or her the look. So usually Ramana looked for some time at the person, and it was never planned. People couldn't ask for it. It just happened. So, for example, now if I can tell about GM, she doesn't use any words of initiation and transmission and all these things. But nevertheless, it has been without any doubt the most powerful thing I've ever experienced. I have also seen that during these phone calls that she has on Saturdays, it has been going on for 3 weeks. I started it for the Westerners some 3 weeks ago. The majority, or I would say almost everybody, feel a deep silence and peace. And then some people even feel it's like growing and growing, And there has been cases where immediately, actually immediately, people have gone inside no suffering. They become one with the consciousness, sort of. Some kind of a union with consciousness. Where there is peace, love, and joy, there is no suffering. There can be negative thoughts, but they don't go inside. There can be pain, but it doesn't go inside. It has been immediate. Just over the phone. When there is a group of 10 or 25 people. So, I know that GM does something very powerful. And in my case, I would say that it feels like a seed has been sown, which is growing very, very, very powerfully. I would call it maybe the seed of the natural state. The natural state, Ramana called it Sahaja Samadhi, or the oneness state, the enlightened state, the awakened state, the self-realized state, which does not require any effort. You can play football with it. You can cook food with it. You can play with your children with it. You can be busy with it. You can meditate with it. It's always there. Whatever you do, you cannot escape it because you are that. So that is when we have become whole or complete. I sometimes call it that total healing has occurred. So the highest form, if you want to use the term initiation, that I have ever heard of is coming from these spiritual giants who don't even use the word initiation. It is so powerful. I would rather get one such from somebody who doesn't use the word, like Raman or GM, than 1 billion from somebody who is partly awake and who is making money on it, or making himself or herself famous, or wanting to have a cult, or make people follow you, or bow at your feet and boast the ego, and all these things that is so common everywhere now, of partly awakened consciousness. That's beautiful that it happens, that people get into beautiful states of more love, joy, and peace, maybe even beyond suffering, but to call it the ultimate state is very misleading and hurting themselves and others who trust them. That is what I would say. So in these phone meetings with GM, like yesterday there was a group with a Russian speaking with 20 people and English speaking with 25 or so. Many they report like such a deep silence and a union with consciousness, at least partly union. And that is a seed that can grow and grow if you just practice the simple methodless method that Nisargadatta Maharaj and GM are recommending. In my opinion, they are very similar, and also what Ramana said, the methods are similar, the teaching is so similar. I would even call them, they are from the same family. 2 brothers and 1 sister. All of them worked for free. They're so selfless. They're so humble. So to me, GM is a Ramana sister, is a living Ramana, a living Nisargadatta, somebody you can really trust, because there's total purity. So what I've seen in my case is that ever since I've been with GM, there is some kind of a motor inside, just expanding. It is, there is something called a bomb, which is after some time it is blowing. This feels like a slow bomb, which is releasing slowly and bop, and suddenly is some kind of a realization bomb, or awakening bomb, or enlightenment bomb, or sahaja samadhi, or natural state bomb. I would maybe call it natural state bomb. That's how it feels for me. It got very active Monday, some days ago, like 6 days ago. It was really there, I felt. It is still there, but on Monday it was very, very clear for like one day. But there is a tendency for a steady growth of maybe 50 or 100% every week, like the growing, expanding. So it is so easy, it is so effortless. So little is required now. We just have to take one step, and with the help of a living realized master, this one step becomes 100 steps, or at least 10 steps. Just like a singer who is singing in a microphone and have a loudspeaker and so on, then the voice will be heard in the whole stadium for 100,000 people or millions of people. So I would say that what happened to me in the retreat with the GM was that I got a loudspeaker. I got these things making it so much more powerful. And in my opinion, Ramana did the same. And Ramana's disciple who transferred something to me, who gave a transmission, he did the same to me. And that what he did, that sort of transmission, by looking me in the eyes for 20 minutes, that matured into becoming no suffering and a deep state of love, peace and joy. But that was a partial awakening, because I only met him 2 times during like 13 hours, 3 hours. And then he said I shouldn't meet him anymore. I assume he could see I was going to meet GM. I felt blessed by him that he and Ramana, I feel that guided me to GM, because there's not like 2 masters, they're the same. Just like Nisargadatta Maharaj, his master, Siddha Rameshwar Maharaj, he said, if you are not totally in the oneness state, in the natural state, and then your master dies, and there is somebody else who can help you, you will be a fool not to accept that help. So that is the lineage from which Nisargadatta Maharaj is coming. And it's also my experience. And we just have to see beyond the form, because they are not 2 realized beings. They are one and the same. They are the source, because they have merged with the source. And in Monday, I think 6 days ago, I'm not sure, but more or less I was also the source. And all of us are the source. You are the source, but you are yet to discover it. So here, with the spiritual giants, as I call them, like Ramana, Nisargadatta, and GM, as some good examples, they are not saying they are special. They're saying they are you, you are them. And they're the source, and you are the source. The difference is that they have discovered it, and they would like to help you to discover it. And GM says, I'm only here to help you to realize, to discover who you are. So these Saturday meetings, I'm so happy she agreed. It is in Swedish time, 3 p.m. Every Saturday in English, and California, 6 in the morning, India, 7:30 evening, Moscow, 5 evening, Kazakhstan, Almaty, 8 in the evening. I think Sydney, maybe 1 in the morning. It's not so good. Maybe we can add something in the future. So anyhow, you're more than welcome to join. And if you are, I don't know, lucky or well prepared, I don't know what's the difference. Sometimes they are the same. Then maybe in a phone meeting, you will actually be able to make it. And then with the help of GM's teachings, or I mean, Ramana and Nisargadatta is basically the same teaching. Just like after meeting GM, it's easier for me to apply GM's teachings and her audios and her book. Before meeting GM, it was easier for me to work with Nisargadatta Maharaj, also Ramana, but it was more Nisargadatta Maharaj because that was more easy for me to understand. But actually it's the same thing. I'm just speaking from my own experience. Everybody is different, you know. So GM has also said, just by listening to her audios, reading her book, and maybe adding a phone meeting where like mighty things usually happen. And as I told you, people have gone into the state beyond suffering within seconds. And it's become deeper and deeper, week by week. I am not saying it will always be like that, or it cannot go up and down. It can be different. But GM makes it possible also to realize with the help of her teachings and books. But I recommend to add the phone meetings if you're a serious seeker, because that could speed it up a lot, as it usually does for most people. And if you could come to India to the retreat, everything that GM does is for free. I would highly recommend you to at least try. There's so little to lose. There is no devotion asked. There is no falling at her feet. There's no worship. There's no ritual to her. There's no mantra. There's nothing. She's more like a friend. She's more like a doctor or a friend, like a realization doctor, an awakening doctor, an awakening friend. Nothing is asked. No money is asked. She even makes tea for you and give you the tea from her own pocket. So there's so little to use. She has no rules. There is not even one thing, do this, do that. Zero. She never compares to anything. She never asks you, what is your religion, or do you believe in God or not? She has no questions. She is like a doctor of total awakening. She's like a friend of total realization, to realize the highest potential in you. At least this is my impression. This is what I feel, and it has helped me immensely. I can't guarantee that these are her words. I just feel it's true. I might be wrong. I don't want to lie. I don't want to tell something I don't know. She says that in her presence, by following her teachings very well, it is sort of difficult or even impossible to not wake up. These are her words. I respect it. I hope it's true. I even think it should be true, because I've seen her passion, and she only works with the very serious seekers. But I can't guarantee it. You must be the one checking it out. And you can always leave it if you don't want it. So GM hasn't told me what I shall say. Nothing. There's so much freedom and love here. Just like a doctor. I would say like a doctor. She is a scientist, by the way, scientist in chemistry. And she is quoting a lot of nuclear physics, quantum physics. You know that 2022 in December, there were like 3 men. It's Alan Aspect, and then 2 more. I have the names here, but they are coming. That what he said, she agrees. You know, that there is no such thing as matter. There is only one consciousness. Everything is just consciousness. And consciousness is in singular, like one of the greatest minds in the world, Irving Schrödinger, he said. He's in nuclear physics, like some decades ago, I think 50 years ago or more. Consciousness is only singular. Everything is only one. Everything is only the source. And of course I am that, and you are that. Thank you for today.